Welcome back to Positively Port St. Lucie. I'm Sarah Prohaska with the Communications Department here at the City of Port St. Lucie. We're going to talk about something a little more serious for this segment. July has been declared Opioid Awareness Month by the Chief Justice of the Florida Supreme Court. And I'm very honored to have Judge Stephen Levin. He's from the 19th Judicial Circuit. He started the drug court program in our community, and he's here to talk about Opioid Awareness Month and just some of the things we need to be aware of this, well, not just this month, but all year round. Thank you for coming on, Judge Levin.
I appreciate it. Thank you. It's an honor to be here, and I appreciate you thinking about us.
Oh, no problem. So opioid addiction it's really become an epidemic across the nation, and we feel it here on the Treasure Coast.
We do see it more and more, and it has become prevalent in the past 6 months to a year, maybe a little longer than that.
Okay.
And the sad part about it is it's hitting a lot of people where they began taking medication legally and then have become addicted to opioids.
Yeah.
And I see them in my courts along there too. But because of that, the Supreme Court of Florida felt it important enough to make it Opioid Awareness Month, in which we're trying to educate the public and educate the judges and the people in the system too about the dangers and about what we're facing every day, because it is something that does kill, and it's something that scares the community as much as it should.
Yeah, and it's and like you said, it can start off by, say, someone gets in a car crash, they get prescribed some pain medication, and it just kind of grows. It can grow from there, where it's very not someone who's really even aware that it's happening. Correct?
Correct. It's not started. A lot of times, a lot of drugs are started by young age, being tempted and doing things. A lot of drug use is started by self-medication when when people aren't feeling well and they want to medicate and they do drugs and they become addicted. But opioids are a little different because I think it's been years and years in coming. This has been there's been opioids prescribed for pain going back as long as I can remember. I've been involved as a judge since 2000. I was a prosecutor before then for 17 years. So we've seen it, but now it's become so prevalent in our society and hitting. And I have a drug court, which we'll talk about in a little while, which I started in St. Lucie County back in 2001 or 2002, and I still do the adult and juvenile. Judge Schwab does the juvenile now, but I did the juvenile until recently. And you see more and more of these opiates coming into play, and they're highly addicting, and people get on them and they don't realize it, and at that point their lives have changed forever, and people around them are, and it's killing people in our community, and it's very scary.
Yeah. So that leads me to another question. So how does it affect family members, friends, those who are around someone who may be addicted to opioids?
Well, it's very difficult to determine if someone's an addict or addicted to it by just seeing them, because people function perfectly well with them for quite some time, and then it takes more and more of the opioids to treat their condition, and when that happens, they increase, and there's a lot of access to these opioids in our community and throughout the state and throughout the country, probably the world, but in which they get more and more of the pills, and then they become so they can't really get off of them. I get people into my drug court. I run a drug court, like I said, I started back in 2001 or 2002 here in St. Lucie County, where people are first-time drug offenders, and they, instead of just putting them on probation, which is and telling them to stay out of trouble, we actually monitor them. We set them up with counseling. We set them up with drug testing. We set them up with coming to court once a week, and it's a 2-year program where if they do real well, they can get out sooner. But it's a program where we emphasize the recovery aspect of it. And that's when I first see these individuals, when they come to the courts. So they're first-time offenders, and the unique part is it's every walk of life that you can imagine. You can name a profession. They're in my drug court at one point in time. I've had every profession you can name. Yeah,
and like you said, and it could be your next-door neighbor. You don't know, but it is every walk of life, it seems like.
And you wouldn't know, and the first time it happens usually is there's some arrest made. It has to have an arrest to get into drug court.
To get to court,
So the arrest is made for either possession of, so people want the opioids and they can't get them legally at some point in time because it's cut off. So then they start getting it illegally, and when they get it illegally, law enforcement gets involved, and then they get caught. And then it's actually works out to be good thing in their lives at times because we get them into treatment and get them in, and we have a tremendously high success rate in drug court compared to not drug court cases because we give them the attention they need to hopefully get off these horrible painkillers.
So let's talk about drug court a little bit because you are the expert on that. And how is that different than like you said if they would have gone through the system the regular way?
When a law enforcement makes an arrest, they go into the system, and the state attorney's office decides to charge or not charge the person. So now they're charged first-time offender for either a purchase or possession of a drug, and felony, and we have a misdemeanor drug court also.
And is it just for first-time offenders?
No, in this circuit, it is just for first-time offenders. We also have a condition of probation sometimes. We can add in drug court if people want the intense supervision. You have to want it, or welcome it, or have to be willing to do it. It's a program where you have to voluntarily go into it because it is a lot more than what the regular system offers. If you're a first-time offender after having been involved in the criminal justice system for almost over 30 years, you most likely first-time offenders could receive probation, as you've heard about that. Obviously, everyone has. And probation, you basically stay out of trouble, and then you're done. But people can't stay out of trouble when they're addicted to a drug. So drug court was formed in 2001. It actually started in juvenile drug court in Martin County in this circuit with then Superintendent Frank Brogan, who later became the Lieutenant Governor, and Pam Roebuck, who was Assistant State Attorney. They started in the 90s. The first drug court in the state was Janet Reno when she was state attorney in Miami in 1889. So in 2000, I was appointed judge by the governor, and at that time, the chief judge came to me and said, "Do you want to work in a drug court?" And my reaction was, I've been prosecuting for 17 years. Why would I want to do a drug court? What's the point? And he said, "Try it out." And I tried it out, and I started it. And I did in Martin County. I did St. Lucie County. And it turned out to be the most worthwhile thing I've ever been involved with.
Wow.
It has helped so many people, not me, but it's a team of individuals. It's the prosecutor, the state attorney's office, Bruce Colton has been tremendously helpful in that. Diamond Liddy, the public defender, has been tremendously helpful. Law enforcement, probation officers, the counselors, we have evaluators, we have people involved, we have the jails involved because people are identified quickly as being addicts. And then they start coming to court, not just once or twice, but on a weekly basis to see the judge, myself or someone else. And if they do something where they relapse and use drugs again, or do something else that violates the rules, such as it could be another charge, maybe whatever it may be, there is immediate sanctions. So drug court works on immediate sanctions and immediate rewards. And we monitor them closely. Our drugs we have seen through the years changed greatly in 17, 18 years. We've seen them go from marijuana is still prevalent, cocaine is still prevalent, but now the opioids have come on strong in the last 3 or 4 years, and then develops to heroin and fentanyl, and then this is actually where life and death becomes more of a serious nature. Not that other drugs couldn't kill, but nothing is as serious as this. And so drug court has to intensify because we have to react to the serious nature of the opioid crisis.
So if they come to your court and they've done it, they've stayed off. They've stayed clean, they've done everything they're supposed to do. What kind of, you said they get rewards, so what sort of rewards?
We have a reward system in drug court that basically encourages people to, we help them get jobs, that's not the reward.
That's great.
We help them, we talk to the business community, and I'll tell them now, if they see the business community, people are sometimes hesitant to hire people who are in the system. But drug court individuals are the cleanest individuals you ever see, because they're being drug tested 2 to 3 times a week, they're going to see a judge once a week, and they go to counseling 2 to 3 times a week. And I challenge anyone to find employees in our world who are monitored that closely.
Even on, like you said, on probation, they're not even.
No,
I mean, I don't want to say anything.
No, they're not. They're not monitored that closely. So what happens is the reward system we use in court is we may call their case earlier. We may spread out the times that they actually come to court. We may limit their meetings they have to go to, except that's therapeutic, and we don't really touch that. The legal side is the therapeutic side. But the serious part about opioids is you got to jump on it, and you got to jump on it hard. There's an opioid drug court up in New York, in Buffalo, New York.
Just
for opioids.
Oh my gosh.
And we don't do that here. But they actually see their people every day.
Oh my goodness.
Because they say our goal in regular drug court that I run and that I'm part of, and I'm the administrative judge for that, and we have other fine judges doing it throughout the circuit, is that we try to keep people clean by giving them counseling incentives and
resources
and support. But for the opioid drug court, which is the one up in North, and it tells you how serious it is, they have to meet every day because their goal is to simply keep the person alive. And it really,
Wow.
and they're called a success when the person is alive for another week. And that's how serious this has gotten throughout the country at this point in time. It's the number one.
That's great. That's alarming.
It's an eye opener that you sit there and realize that it's reached this level. So I know our law enforcement agencies are aware of it, and they do a tremendous job on trying to do what they can to weed out the suppliers, but also to help those that need the help. And the law enforcement has been a major part of our drug courts and helping us out, including obviously in St. Lucie County.
Well, it sounds like this is one really positive thing that the courts are doing. Everyone's, like you said, law enforcement is doing their part. The courts have certainly stepped up, and through this program, it really seems like that you're trying to make a difference here in the lives of these people and their families who are affected by it. So.
The families are important. We try to get the families involved. Anybody who is, I have a rule in my court that anybody who is allowed to come up to the front when I call the participant or the defendant or the person who is addicted. When I call them up to the front, any family member can come up with them as long as they satisfy a rule. And my rule is if they've had one sleepless night about this individual, they can come up and do that.
Oh,
so I get parents coming up there, kids, family, and significant others. And it's really it's a group effort. Because most of these people want to get off the drugs, and they really want to do anything to get there, and they just can't. And there are certain drug courts that use the medical assisted treatment with Suboxone and Vivitrol and different to do that. We've had debates as to whether that's allowed in drug court, not allowed in drug court, and that's another show and go into whether that. But certainly the medically assisted treatment does help those individuals and it substitutes for the drug, and it's not as dangerous and life-threatening to them as what it comes down to.
All right. Well, we are running out of time. Before I let you go, is there any place in particular that our listeners could go to find out more about the drug court and more about what the circuit's doing?
Well, they can. You can go on the internet and find do drug court, but you can go to our 19th Judicial Circuit website. It talks about the drug courts there. Like I said, we have them going in all 4 counties. About 14 or 15 specialty courts, or maybe more than that. The number may be off, but we run them all the time. It's weekly done, and if you ever want to see a drug court, I do the St. Lucie County adult drug court on Thursday afternoons. Most Thursday afternoons around 2 o'clock at the St. Lucie County Courthouse, 2nd Street, and Judge Schwab does the juvenile. A little bit later on Thursday afternoons, a lot of Thursday afternoons, and then the other counties you can look on the calendars on the website, and they'll tell you where to go to see a drug court. Come watch a drug court. If you don't believe in drug court, if you don't think drug court is that useful, I've heard many criticisms and accolades for drug court through the years. People say we're not supposed to be social workers, and others say that we're saving lives. So if you don't believe in it, please come watch a drug court. Come watch it.
They're open. I mean,
they're open to the public. They're open to the public. And the staffing is not where we talk about the treatment. But when we get to court, which is 1:45 in St. Lucie County now on Thursdays for adults, and a little bit later, I think it's like 3:30 for juveniles, come by the courthouse, stick your head in and say hello, and I'll be glad to answer any questions you have, because drug court really has saved lots of money. It has saved many individuals' lives, and it's preserved family lives, and we hope to continue to contribute to the community by helping those individuals and keeping them out of the system. Because everyone that we treat in our system, everyone we deal with in our criminal justice system is coming back into our community, unless, of course, they get a lengthy prison sentence, which wouldn't apply to the cases I'm talking about.
And it keeps them out of the jail, out of the system.
Out of the jail with help, though. Out of the jail where they're not victimizing people and not victimizing themselves, and that's the key. We want safety as primary, the focus of the drug court program, safety of the community, and we selfishly do that by helping these individuals who are addicted, and they then we're actually protecting everyone in the community by doing that, and helping them also become better, productive citizens in the community.
Okay, perfect. All right.
I appreciate you having me here today.
Thank you, Judge Levin. We really appreciate it. It is a very important topic just to get on people's radar screens, because people may not realize how how widespread this problem is right now, and it is. So
Especially-
thank you for coming on. We
My pleasure.
appreciate it.
Thank you. And anybody needs information, just go to the website.
Website.
And go from there.
All right, all right.
Thank
And
you.
We'll be right back after these messages.